So welcome to another episode of the website Copywriter. And today we've got the lovely Rebecca Watson, who is a brand strategist and brand designer. And this is the first time we've met, which is really exciting because it means that there's lots of, I'm learning about you and what you do and everything, which is really fun. So Rebecca, do you want to just kind of introduce yourself, and we'll see what happens after that.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm Rebecca, and my work is mainly around brand strategy, figuring out who you are as a business so that we can really get to the fun stuff, which is usually the visual side. I must admit, everyone wants to get to like the colors that they want to use in their business and their logo and all of those lovely things. But I really pride myself on getting to know the business really, really well, inside out. So you can really just find out like who you are and who you want to attract in your business. And that's really what my job is to do. And I love it. I've done it for a long, long time, like 15 years. But for myself, I've worked for about 8 years on my own, in my own business, with my own clients. And yeah, I love it. I work mainly with women. So I love to help women in business who just are kind of from a corporate side. So they might have come from like a super corporate job, and now they're thinking, well, how the heck am I going to do this on my own now? So that's really my job, to help them along the way and get them everything that they need in their toolkit to then promote themselves and just be the absolute expert in their field, really.
So I've seen your work and I absolutely love it. I'm a big fan. We have a mutual friend, Chris Wilcox from Lightbulb Web Design, and so we've worked on the same project before, but never actually met. So we do know each other in virtual sense.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I've been admiring your work from afar for quite a while now. You've got like a real amazing knack for the visual side. I don't know much about what you do with the strategy side. Yeah. So what's kind of the difference between the visual branding and the strategy side? What do you feel?
Yeah, so I suppose I always think of the strategy side. It's the bit that I love, but a lot of my clients are a little bit like, why are we even talking about where my target market shops? And why are we even talking about, what she does in her spare time and stuff like that? Because I think that with design, it's almost the icing on the cake for businesses. It's the thing that everyone will see, and it's lovely, and the messaging's right and things like that, but that's because we've done our homework. So I like to see the strategy side as doing the homework, doing all the legwork before we actually get to the good fun stuff, which is which colors align with your business and the type of fonts that we might use. Even things like photography, like choosing the things that you have in your photos for your business is really important, because if you've not done your legwork and done the homework, we can't really get to exactly who it is that you're reaching out to. It's all that sort of intangible stuff that you don't really see in the background. So I think that's why I kind of used to do it in my old job, in my corporate job, when I worked for I don't know if you know the Cumberland Pencil Company. They make like fine art materials for like worldwide. So part of my job was to look at their target market and things like that. And I just realized that when I started my own business, a lot of designers didn't do that. They just kind of thought, well, this looks nice, let's just have that as a logo, or whatever. And there was no strategy behind it. So that's why it's something that I'm really passionate about introducing. I think you'll find that in your job as well. Like, you can't do your job unless you know the ins and outs of the person that you're working with and their target market as well.
Yeah, absolutely. that's the foundation to writing copy, is really understanding who you're writing to. And it's the same with design, isn't it? I remember when I first set out in business, and I think this is probably a familiar story. When did I first set out in business? Or like it was towards the end of 2014, beginning of 2015, and the first thing I wanted to do was get a logo.
Yeah.
So I got like a really cheap logo. There was no strategy behind it. It's just like basically what looks good.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
what didn't look good
Yeah.
in that case. But then the more you get into it, the more you learn, and it's really all about your ideal client, all your goals and everything. So it's really, and I love to see and your work's definitely like this. I love to see designers where you can really tell. So it's less about their style, and you can really tell the difference between the brands are so different that the designers designing, and that really shows that it's all about who the target audience is.
Absolutely. And I mean, I'm very careful I try to show a breadth of work on my website. But it's tricky because I find that a lot of my ideal clients love similar things, which is sort of a little bit tricky sometimes when you are trying to show that people are unique in their business and things like that. But that's not to say, because I know that when you started, you've obviously gone and just got something like, cheap and cheerful. But there's actually no shame in that, because at the beginning, I think a lot of people just need something to get them started. And there is absolutely no shame in that, because I just think that, unless you don't know until you know, if that makes sense. And I think once people get a bit more established and they realize exactly who it is they are in the business, then that's when they start investing in someone like me, who will actually get in there and really elevate them so much further than when they first started out. I developed my own website when I started my business. I wrote my own copy. I did absolutely everything, because that's kind of what you have to do to start off with. But I think there does come a time when you have to invest, and I think that's where I step in and I say, well, this is what we can do together, and this is what I've done for my other clients, and they're all really successful now, not just because of me, obviously, because they're amazing at what they do, but having the right brand strategy and the right visuals to attract who you want to attract. Well, it's like an investment. You'll attract so many more people by having your messaging right and your brand looking just how you want it, and it gives you that confidence to really put yourself out there even more. So
confidence is a big one, isn't it? Confidence.
Absolutely.
If you've got your nice photographs. I've recently had new brand photographs taken. I can't wait to get them back. I haven't got them back yet, but I can't wait, because I know it was so. The last time I had a brand, like a personal brand photo shoot, it just really brings everything to life again, isn't it? That's another thing.
It does, absolutely. And I work with photographers all the time, and as part of my service, when I work on a brand with somebody, I'll give them suggestions as the type of photography that they might want to use in their business, because things like, for example, I've got this lady who is a candle maker, and I was like, it's really going to be important for you to bring in all the raw materials that you use, really show that you use all these fantastic organic products in your candles and things like that, because that's what's important to people. And if they see that, it really gives off that extra bit of brand messaging that you really want to put out there. So photography is massively important. I'd always recommend, if people can, invest in that, definitely. So
do you design websites as well, or is it you do?
So my degree is actually in web design, so I did a HND in graphic design and then decided to hop on to the web design degree as well, so I did that. My background is web. So my first job was in web, and I love it. So when I work with developers such as Chris from Lightbulb Web Design, I'll do very much the visual side, the user experience, and he'll obviously help me with, their navigation and how it feels to be on the website. And then, yeah, it's my job really to do the visual side to make sure that it's flowing, that everything feels on brand for the client. And and it doesn't actually matter if I've done the branding, because as long as they've got something that's cohesive and has been done by a brand designer, I can pretty much take what anyone's done and translate it into a website that feels just perfect for them, really. So yeah.
Brilliant. So that's why you also like working with photographers.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. Yeah, I work with a lot of photographers actually, because it depends on what the photographer's niche is as well, like what they specialize in. Like one of my clients is a personal trainer, so I actually referred her onto a photographer I knew that was really sporty, and I knew she also did sports photography, because if they don't get your business, like they've really got to get to know your business, don't they? And find out how you tick as well as a person, because it's such a personal thing getting photos taken. You've got to be like super like comfortable with them. And it's the same with a designer and a copywriter as well. You've got to know that that person will work well with you, that you're a good fit, that you trust them and things like that. And I think that's why I go on about visual branding, but I think as well your personal brand has to be on point as well. Like when you're doing videos like this, or if you're doing Instagram stories or talking about something like a personal experience, I think it's got to be like other people have to resonate with that as well. So sometimes I'll get a client get in touch and I'll think we're not a good fit. I'll think that actually maybe this person would be better for you because they're more suited to, like, I don't know, a super corporate environment, which I am, but I prefer to work with like creative businesses, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's got to fit the person as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So I have a bit of a bugbear about the size. When people take the copy that I've given them and then have like random font sizes, like like headlines are not big enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine that would be really stressful for you.
Do you have any funny bugbears like that? Or do you know, like really important headlines written in script fonts that you can't read, like that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely legibility is something which, it has to be right, especially on a website. I think it depends on the business as well. If it's super creative and fancy, then I do think there's a place for accent fonts, but it's very rarely in headline copy, because that's the thing that you really want people to read, isn't it? Bugbears, like about branding specifically, or
just about, I don't know, about websites or about kinds of.
Oh, I tell you what I don't like, and this is Chris's fault. So Chris taught headers for websites, like photos. And it's like they just have a photo but nothing else. It's just a photo, and you're like, what does this really tell me about this website? Why have they not put a little headline, like introduction or something snappy in that little area? Because essentially you get to the website and you look at that and you think, well, I don't know who this is, so I'm going off. But it's got to be like, from your point of view as well, that's got to be a bugbear of yours when they don't have anything there.
Definitely no headlines that make no sense, like they don't mean anything, they're just like fancy words, and it's like the headlines you can't read properly because of the choice.
It's got to be right. I mean, like one of the main things that we learned when we were doing when I was doing my degree even, was that people have got seconds, and they've got even less seconds now, even fewer seconds now, to make an impact on a website, because everyone's attention span is getting so much less with Instagram. I mean, I studied web design, well, it'd be 16 years ago now, so obviously it's very different. They've got that snap second to make that decision whether they're going to stay on your website or not. And I think having that initial impact is really important. I also hate it, right, when videos play and the music starts. If I go on a website, I'm like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Like, I'm listening to No Doubt here. Like, I don't want to be listening to your audio about, I don't know, whatever it is, cabinet making or something random. That really annoys me as well about websites, when it's like a video that plays with music. I just can't do it. I have to get off.
Stuff
Like that is my bugbears. Yeah, that's probably my biggest bugbear. But but I'd be here all day if it was something to do with grand design, so don't ask me about that.
Talking about attention spans, so my vice, if you want to call it a vice, is scrolling on TikTok. And obviously, I mean, it's just short. It's like dopamine hit. Like short video. And I've noticed, so I follow like DJs and stuff on TikTok, and I've noticed that DJs now are playing like very short snippets of songs. Rather, there's a few that I follow on TikTok, and they play like short snippets of songs, and I think it's because the younger people who actually go to these events, not like me, just lying on my bed wishing I was there but not there. It must be that attention span of like the younger generation must be getting so small that DJs just play little bits of songs.
That's what at gigs.
Yeah, but like I'm talking about like super DJs, like who have like Creamfields kind of.
Right. Oh, that's a bit weird. Okay.
That's what I've noticed. So it's a lot of like old songs that I used to go clubbing to.
Yeah,
but they're still playing the same songs, but just tiny snippets of them, and the song changes like after like a minute or something.
Oh yeah, I know. I have noticed that actually, in all fairness. And I think that, it's one of those things where you kind of think, yeah, I mean, it's important to go with trends, and it's important to sort of address that. But to my mind, why aren't we correcting that for people? Like, why are we not playing longer songs and saying, just chill, just chill. Like, it doesn't have to be like little short snappy things. I mean, I know with my daughter, she's 8, and she, she'll ask for something like a snack, and she thinks that it has to happen like right away. And I think part of that comes from like this instant gratification when it comes to like them going on she doesn't go on social media, she's not on TikTok or anything, but she'll watch YouTube, and it's very snappy, and she'll get to the end of a video and then it's on to the next one. Do you know what I mean? And so I've been making her wait for stuff. I'll be like, yeah, I'll get it for you in just a few minutes, and then she'll be like, okay, mum. Whereas once over, I'd have been like getting up, like quickly getting her something. But I'm really aware of the fact that her attention span, and also her need for like instant gratification, that comes from not just being a child, because we've all had it before the age of social media and the internet, but I do feel that I look at children, because I volunteer at Brownies, like the little girl guide thing, and I notice it with them as well. They like to have things happen like quickly, but I think our job as well, obviously as a parent, but also in life in general, I think we need to kind of get that leveled out a little bit and get people to get that attention back. Does that make sense?
It does. It's hard to do. I think like my kids are 12 and 8, and it's like when they're bored, it's too easy to just give in and let them have more screen time. I think it's hard to, but you're absolutely right. It's something that we should all try and work on a lot.
I know, but it's not easy, is it? Because we've got busy lives as well, And I think in the summer holidays, we're always a bit conscious of the fact that they do have more screen time than normal. But I think that to play music at a venue that's really short and snappy, that's just feeding into the issue, isn't it, really? So I don't like it. I think it's a bit of a marketing gimmick, to be honest. I think that's a bit of a gimmick thing to do.
Yeah, probably. Definitely.
Yeah. They're losing their brand by like giving in to like trends and stuff, when I don't think things should be trendy. Like in design, for example, like there's a bit of a thing going on with like beauty therapists at the moment. In fact, it's happened for ages, where they'll have something like watercolor in the background and like rose gold. I don't know what it is, but I see it all the time with like beauty therapists and stuff. And it's a trend because people think, oh, well, they've got that, I'm going to have that too. But like our job as creatives, like copywriter, brand designer, like it's our job to not go with the norm. It's to make it unique to them. Do you know what I mean? Like, you following trends is okay, but it's not going to last people the longevity of their business, is it?
So, but what happens when the ideal client, the target audience, is following the trends? So
yeah, I mean, that is a good point. So for example, somebody might say to me, you know, should I be on TikTok? And I'll say, well, where's your target market? Where are they? Where are they hanging out? And if they say TikTok, I'm like, yeah, get on it. Do you know what I mean? Or I'm trying to think of something visually. I don't know if visually I'd ever recommend something, but certainly like marketing trends and things like that. Or, you know, when people do that news jacking thing where there's something being talked about in the news, like, I don't know, the next series of Big Brother or something, I don't know. You know, and if it's appropriate to your target market, then jump on that trend. But as trends, you know, evolve, they also disappear, and there's the next one. So with visuals, it's very, very difficult. I don't think anyone should ever use a trend to market their business, like brand their business in terms of their visuals. Only if it's like a short-term thing. If it was a long-term thing, no. But if it was a short-term thing, like somebody was, I don't know, in fashion or something like that, then obviously you can have a bit of flexibility with trends. But generally, I would advise not going with any trends and just sticking with the core focus of your business. So yeah.
What about the balance between, so if you're creating the visuals for a personal brand,
yeah,
this is something that like I've thought about, because I'm like an overthinker with these things.
Yeah.
So you've got, on one side, you've got your ideal client, and then on the other side, you've got your personal taste, because it's a personal brand. So like, is it just literally like a perfect marriage of the two, or do you tend to go one way or the other way, or how do you work that out?
It depends on the person that comes to see me, basically. If they are planning on it being a very personal brand, it's probably not product based. I mean, some of it can be, but generally I would say that, because usually when we look at target markets of people, it's often people like them. Does that make sense? So my target market is probably a lot like me, in terms of what they like, their family and situation and just general outlook. So I think that it's important to inject something personal into it. But if it's something that, for example, you later want to sell, like a business that you want to sell, then personal things shouldn't really come into it. Because if you then go on to sell your business like in 10 years time, and you've created a whole thing around what your personality, you as a person, it's not very saleable, because when you transfer it to someone else, they'll be like, well, this isn't me, I'm going to have to rebrand the whole thing now. So I think there's got to be a balance, really. There's got to be a balance with being a personal thing and what you like and what your target market likes. And it depends whether you're similar to your target market or not, I think.
Yeah, and it's that difference between a personal brand and a company brand, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, I work a lot with personal brands. Like a lot of the women who approach me for their design work and strategy, Most of them are the only person in their company, like they're a solo business and they don't really have, some of them might have plans to grow, but generally it needs to be something which is very personal to them as well and part of their story too. So yeah, it's got to be a balance, and it depends very much on your clients and who approaches you for work. So yeah.
Fascinating. It's fascinating getting a different perspective, because I've like, obviously I used to be a web designer, but I don't have any kind of graphic design background or anything like that, which is why I went down the copywriting route rather than sticking with the web design, because it wasn't my strength.
Fair enough.
But it's fascinating. Listen, it's been really lovely chatting.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. It's been lovely.
We've covered quite a lot of topics there.
Absolutely.
TikTok DJs and branding and strategy. Excellent. So did you have anything else that you wanted to mention or say, or anything?
No, not really. Just I've really enjoyed it, and thank you very much for having me.
Right, cool. So if you want to subscribe, hit subscribe, and I will see you all next episode. Bye. Oh, I'm doing that thing again where I'm pressing the wrong button.